forgive me, but if it's vents, V-E-N-T-S,
Yes.
that's like that.
No.
Right. Well,
But
how
could be,
but
not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but the A takes the event away from it and makes it a vent.
Right. But you know what brings it back? The wed on the front.
No,
Wed.
I don't think it does.
Vents. Wed-A-Vents.
Could you draw?
Wed-A-Vents. Here it comes. What's that way back in the picture that's coming at me? Oh, the graphic. Wed-A-Vents.
Okay, draw it. Could you draw the graphic?
Sure.
The way you see
Sounds like you're more excited about the title of the show than the show itself.
Everything happens with the title. Lauren told me that one time.
I don't think that's true.
He did. He did. On my interview, he said when he was talking about Mean Girls, he said, I knew we had a good show. I knew we were going to have a successful movie when we called it Mean Girls.
Is that true?
Yes, that's absolutely truth. He said.
And so you're basing.
It's all
I'm
about
sorry.
the title.
What's the?
You would do it on a bigger piece of paper.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't listen to a guy who's had a show on television for 35 years. You're right. I'm crazy. Here.
He's basing this one conversation with Lauren on Wed-A-Vents.
Okay, here it
No,
goes.
I think the other way around.
Here we go. So
Oh, right. That's what I meant.
This goes like this. So, you know, obviously I can't do the thing, but it would come. So here it is, and so it would come at you like this. Wed-A-Vents.
Can you do it? Can you do it to the camera?
See? So it's like you know, people talking there, the lady's in her bridal gown, and it's like Wed-A-Vents, like that. See? It's exciting.
What I'm seeing when that thing is coming towards me.
What?
What I'm seeing when that thing is coming towards me.
When you see this coming towards you, it's a post-it.
I'm just saying, but when it's far away, it looks like the Starfleet insignia.
But that's because I just drew it with a pencil. We'll get a graphic artist to do it cool.
And there's dashes?
Yes, there's a dash on either side. I said that before. There's a dash on either side, the giant A for Wed-A-Vents.
I'm
And why?
less on board with this name.
Yeah, why is it not?
All right, we can do the E, but I'm telling you, the E's not going to be as effective. Look. I'll change it to an E, but it's not as good. You know, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass, by the way. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Can you explain the show again?
It's what
Because I'm not even sure I get it.
What you do is you get people who had a videographer at their wedding. And, of course, people don't, you know, they think they're going to look at that over and over again. They look at it once and they put it in a drawer somewhere. So you get that video, and then you bring the couples on, and you ask them trivia questions about their wedding, and then there's a point system, kind of like the old Newlywed Game, except now it has a more modern feel because it's got video involved. Now, see, this doesn't even work.
You don't need that huge E.
Yeah.
But it's Wed-A-Vents. Now it's a Wed-A-Vents. That sounds weirder to me than Wed-A-Vents.
But here's the thing.
Wed-A-Vents. What does that mean?
I like the idea for the show. I love the idea for the show, even. I think we need
Tom,
a new name.
I'm just saying, what does Wed-A-Vents mean? I mean, you talk about you don't understand Wed-A-Vents. What does Wed-A-Vents mean?
I don't like either of them, I'll say. Well, I say just rename.
Well, you have to name it something.
I know.
It's got to be named something.
I can suggest other things.
I'm telling you something right now. If it isn't called Wed-A-Vents, it's a deal breaker for me. I'm just gonna say.
Hello? I'll call you back.
I don't want to do it.
I'm in the middle of a meeting.
I don't want to do it if it's not Wed-A-Vents. I think
You're acting like the show has been sold and now you might take it somewhere else.
I'm saying that, as I said before, I'm saying that I think it's very important to immediately get what the show is about.
But that...
I don't know that title that you have in mind helps.
What are you talking about? Wed-A-Vents. Wed-A-Vents that happen at a wedding. How many times do I have to say that?
Could you work the word video into it, or videographer, or some
no.
Wed-iographer?
Video is not video.
Wed-iographer, that's a better title.
Also, wait a minute, another question. Did you have a videographer at your wedding?
No, I had a photographer.
Oh. Okay, so never mind. I was gonna get.
I mean, we could do Wed-tographer. See, it doesn't work. Wed-A-Vent.
Wed-A-Vents doesn't
Honestly,
work.
Lauren.
Yeah.
Wed-A-Vents. When you hear the words, when you hear the word title, Wed-A-Vents.
Right.
What do you think that's about?
I think it's wedding events.
Exactly, events that happen at a wedding.
Yeah.
But you're not just talking about events. You're talking about you'll ask questions potentially about the food that's there. That's not an event. It's just the food. Like a wedding is an event, is what I'm saying.
Right, but certain events happen at a wedding, like your best man gives a toast and he's too drunk to really do it, and he says something embarrassing, or there's an event where your father, is walking down the aisle with the bride, and maybe he stumbles. That's an event.
Right,
that would, in our terminology, that would be an event.
You're pitching this as like a Newlywed Game thing, where you're asking questions of both sides. And that's the kind of thing that things you described just now are things that you would remember about the wedding. You wouldn't need the videographer for.
But you might. You might say, like, if I said, for instance, one of the Wed-A-Vents questions could be, what on your wedding day was the fish choice, halibut or salmon?
That's an event. That seems
like a menu.
That's more of a menu option.
And also, is the videographer
Also,
getting
this
shots
is the
of
this.
menu?
Also, not for nothing, this sounds like the worst show ever right now. I don't give a shit what people had at their wedding.
Look, the fish was a bad example. It was terrible.
It always is.
But you could say, what was the filling in your cake? There's something people would care about.
Again, more of a menu option.
No,
Nobody
it's
cares.
not, though. Or which one of your... Okay, here's one. Let's say this.
Do you have a host in mind for the show?
Hold on a second.
Don't
Let's say
hold
this.
on, Wed-A-Vents,
Let's say
mate.
this, and you know, because this could be, sometimes things happen. Maybe you say, which one of your bridesmaids was later killed in a car accident
Oh my god.
on the way home because she was drunk?
That seems
Oh,
like a
from the wedding?
From the wedding.
Well, that's a
See, that
post
is-
wed
Now
event.
that is a wed event.
That's a post wed event.
You could probably get news footage on that.
Again, you're parsing the idea out so in such a way that you're ruining the entire.
Can I say
concept.
something?
I am telling you again for
Can
the
I say something?
umpteenth time, and I'm not going to say it again. Wed-A-Vents is events that happen at a wedding.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Now, you said you've thought this through pretty well. It seems like it seems like your examples are coming out pretty haphazardly.
No, I'm not. They're not haphazardly. I'm just being attacked. I come in here to tell you guys my idea. It gets torn apart like you're a pack of wild dogs.
I happen to love the idea. I'm just saying.
That's bullshit.
Before you said you hated the idea.
No, I didn't. I said I hate the title. I hate
it.
the title. Wed-A-Vents, Wed-A-Vents. I hate the title. I love the concept. I think it could be something
Lauren,
great
it's
for you.
Wed-A-Vents. Okay, it's called Wed-A-Vents.
Right.
Now, and get this. So it's wed
Right.
with a dash,
Sure.
a capital A,
Up there.
and then vents, another dash, and then vents. So wed dash a
Large
dash
A.
vents.
Yeah.
And when it comes at you as you go in and out of commercial, a
Right.
graphic that's really small in the frame and then gets bigger comes up and does Wed-A-Vents.
Right.
See, it's dynamic.
It is. It's true.
Right, but
That's,
okay. Would you say that Wed-A-Vents gets across what the show is based on what you've heard here?
And feel free.
yeah.
And don't forget that I owe you $100 by the way for Robert's gift.
That's true. I think it does. It's just, I feel like you do. People might not think of all of those little things as events. So you
Also-
you're
They're
making the
details.
public. You're just sort of redefining that word. I feel like a little bit like.
Also, the other thing that they
Which
are
side?
also the other thing that they're ignoring that they don't even bring up is like another selling point is that it's not funny. It's true.
I'm getting
It-
coverage now.
Is that when the word intrinsically, the word Wed-A-Vents is just a fun word to
not a
say.
word.
If you
It's just
say it,
fun.
you say Wed-A-Vents. You like
Right.
saying it. I like saying it.
You like saying it. I'm not sure people, when they hear you say it, understand what it is.
But what don't you understand? I can't
I
believe I'm saying this again.
I
Wed-A-Vents, events
I
that
know,
happen
I
at
know,
a wedding.
I know, I understand. Having had it explained to me several times now, I understand. I'm just saying, as a title for the show that you're pitching, which I am on board with, you just might want to reconsider it.
Look, here's the bottom line for me. It's either called Wed-A-Vents or we just don't do it. I don't know what else to call it. What do you want to call it? Videography?
No, that was a bad
Videography
example.
trivia?
How about, like, something like wedding memories or something? Because isn't it a test of the memory of the
Wedding
spouse?
memories is so...
Well, I'm
That's
just
like
giving you an
something-
area. I'm not saying...
Wedding memories is literally something you find on the front of a wedding album or like a...
Right. That's an
I don't
area.
even
That's
know, like
something...
a card or something.
Because it is a memory test for the spouses, right? Spouses? Spice? How do you say that?
I would just like you to consider...
I think it's spice.
I would
Okay.
like you to consider, please, just please, please, please consider Wed-A-Vents. Wed-A-Vents.
Considering.
Wed-A-Vents. If you say it and open your mind to understanding it, you'll Wed-A-Vents. Oh, Wed-A-Vents. Oh, it's events that happen at a wedding. That's all.
Right, but that's your okay.
Look, we've covered everything. I mean, it's pretty simple concept. It's easy to make. It's not going to cost a lot of money. You get some people, you give them a refrigerator or something as a prize. Maybe not a refrigerator. That's
Well, what's the scoring?
But you give them something.
How's it scored? You have
It's scored like 10 points a question.
Do you lose
3
points if you get it
rounds.
wrong?
No. You don't
No.
lose points.
Okay.
So it's not like marriage.
What?
Huh?
Okay.
He's doing his own bit over here.